Welcome to Unorthodox Perspectives with your host, Luke Burrows.
I think like your mission, your vision, your purpose, your passion, it's all interlinked.
And Leroy Mabonga.
Discipline is the first step to control.
All right, guys, welcome to Unorthodox Perspectives, episode 18, I believe. So we're here today with a very special guest. Viva O'Flynn has joined us, so I will allow her to introduce herself into a minute. Obviously, we've got Leroy, my man, here as well, guys. And yeah, really looking forward to this episode. It's been a couple of weeks kind of like in the making, really. So yeah, I'm happy that we're all on here. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about living up to our great potential. So something that we all have within us ultimately, but through social conditioning or like whatever it is, I mean, we kind of spoke a lot about that in recent episodes, that kind of gets lost on our kind of journeys through life. So Viva today is going to inspire us, is going to motivate us to unlock our great potential within. But without further ado, Viva, thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Luke. Hi, Leroy. Hello, everyone. I'm Viva Andrada O'Flynn. I share love, joy, inspiration with the world. I'm an entrepreneur of La Viva Cakes and Crafts, secretary of Filipino Association of Gloucestershire, global media relations of World Humanitarian Drive, and host of online show Inspiring Millions Show, podcaster of La Viva, writer of Yes Philippines News Magazine UK Community, and communications manager of Grow Together.
There we go. Yeah, Viva definitely does a lot. So, this is great work. And we had the pleasure of connecting last year. And so, yeah, she's been amazing to kind of get to know Viva and everything that she does. Before we dive into the conversation, Viva, bring Leroy in. Leroy, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, and I'm good. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Viva. So I had a lot, and it sounds like you're really doing great work, and it's really lovely to meet you. And I look forward to getting to know you and speaking to you. But yeah, I'm good. How are you doing, Luke?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. So yeah, let's dive into it, guys. Ultimately, so Viva, you definitely do a lot. Where does this kind of passion, I guess, for helping people to live up to and unlock their full potential?
Well, I'm really an observer of life, and I like to read, I like to learn. I like, communicating with people and asking them how their life is, what's their passion. And then I also like finding opportunities and then just areas I could grow. So if I see like a workshop that I'm interested in that would unlock a better me, I join it and Grow Together. I'm also part of Grow Together, and I'm really enjoying connecting with our online community.
Yeah, absolutely. Leroy, do you have any, this is the first time of you guys are meeting. Do you have any questions for Viva around kind of today's topic of living up to our kind of great potential?
I think just to get to know you, even for our listeners as well, I think I would ask it sounds like you're really living up to your own great potential. You're really exploring quite a lot of yourself and putting yourself out there with a lot of people. How do you find the management of all that? How do you still feel like you're still in control on top of everything that you have going on?
Well, I've learned about myself. I've discovered what my passions are. And so I look for things that are in line with my vision, mission, and also I share love, joy, inspiration with the world. And during the lockdown, I've attended this workshop with Tammy, Will, and Blake. And then so I've crafted my vision mission. So would you want
awesome.
me to
do you want to share that with us?
100%. Okay, so my vision is to be the best I can be for my family, community, country, and the world. I am committed to getting better every day. I choose to celebrate life and share love through my creativity. And then my mission is to create and share inspiration, joy, and love in all I do, to make the world a lovelier place with my creations and relationships with others. So I look for opportunities that are in line with my vision mission.
That's amazing. And so, how would you encourage others to go on that journey ultimately of discovering their own vision and mission? I think so often a lot of people that I talk to have like no idea like what that is for them, and so they just make random choices and random decisions, mostly based on like society, right? But that's not necessarily aligned with like with like who they are. So or their vision and their mission because they haven't brought like awareness to actually what that is for them.
I think it's also good to learn from other people's experiences because every person has a story to tell. And I also surround myself with mentors and I learn from them as well. I like to read a lot and I like to write. And then, well, with journaling, I get to unlock who I am, what my wants, needs, and dreams, hopes, aspirations, goals in life. And I just know more about myself when I write. So I would encourage people to write down their thoughts and feelings. And then also, if they think that they're not writers, well, their phone, they could just record their voice and then just talk on their phone, like how their day went and just things about what their dreams are and aspirations. So I think just having time for yourself and to really reflect on your life, it would help you know more about yourself and what you want from life because this is your life to live. And if you don't know yourself, other people could just take advantage of that and make you into their own clones. So you would be an extension of them doing tasks for them when you also have your own life to live.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the point on journaling ultimately. And some people might say like they're not writers. So as you said, the voice notes idea, that's something that I done like right when I first started. I had like all these voice memos right on my phone of just kind of like me talking to myself, right? But it was super powerful. That sort of whatever form of journaling ultimately and self-reflection people want to use, I think is super powerful.
Definitely. I think so too. Later on, if you'd like, I was thinking about 5 different ways that we could live up to our full potential. If you'd like me to share that one later on too. I was just thinking of it.
Yeah, 100%. So for those who are watching, you may have seen that Leroy's just had to jump out. But if you're listening on the podcast, obviously you can kind of see that it's just me and Viva right now. So yeah, if we kind of wait for Leroy to join back in, he may have some also some points to kind of add around that, which would be super valuable. But yeah, so what are some other habits maybe that you do that helps you to continue to live up to your full potential, to keep optimistic, to keep Viva the inspiring person that you are, Viva? Like what are some of those things that you do you think?
I think it would be connecting with like-minded people because the relationships we have, they have a big impact on the person that we become. I've heard that said many times and I've read about it. And so we should really choose our friendships because who they are it could also impact the person we're going to be. So also just not go into peer pressure. Also know yourself, your identity, and not to get lost in what other people want, but just stay connected and grounded to the person who you are as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. I think I always find the people you surround yourself with, it's like that energy, right? Like if you surround yourself with people who maybe are a bit more negative, like that's going to rub off on you, right? So it's very important to surround yourself with like-minded people. And so, I tend not to kind of do a lot of kind of plugs and stuff, but that does bring us in nicely into obviously something that we've got going on at Grow Together. This Friday is like our first networking event, right? And so that's for example, a great opportunity for people to start to connect with more like-minded people, and in particular at Grow Together, it's very much those who are invested in their personal growth. So there are obviously alternative networking groups and that that people can join and be a part of to connect with those like-minded people, and just like using social media in a way to do that for that purpose. So I really love that ultimately. Do you have anything else to add on to that?
Yeah, and then it's also nice to know what you want to achieve from life, and then so it's like you compile your just to make into a vision board.
Vision board.
Like,
wow.
yeah, things that you'd like to achieve, and then just stare into it. And then have affirmations as well. That helps.
Fantastic. Amazing. So we've got a few people on the live stream with us. If you guys have any questions for myself or for Vivo, do drop them in the comment section and we will definitely answer them. So before we go into the 5 tips you have, Vivo, I'm interested to just briefly explore, I guess, why, from your perspective, why are some of the other reasons that people don't live up to their full potential ultimately? What are some of the things that you've kind of maybe found or seen from people in your community or in your family or within business, right? Within entrepreneurship, what are some of the things that you think kind of hold people back?
I think what holds people back is they lose their sense of self and their direction. They forget their dreams and hopes and sacrifice it to have a better life, have a paycheck, and just get lost in everyday mundane things. And when that happens, they just forget who they are. So once they forget their sense of self, their happiness, it's like they feel they're not really content with life, that they're not happy, that they're depressed, and they're feeling agitated. I think it's really important to remember what makes you happy, what makes you feel alive, your passions in life. I think those are important, that you discover yourself every day, because maybe people change every day, but it's like you just have to keep on growing and to not stagnate. Keep on learning by reading a lot, by writing, by having meaningful connections in life.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of reading, what are some of the top books that you kind of go to? What are some of your favorites?
I would say I have a lot of favorite books, but the books that connect with me are the ones I've written myself, because they're my journey through life. So I would like to show people Survival, Your Guide to Life. This was published in 2007. And then, so this is a compilation of the lessons I've learned, poems, and then also my connections, my life guides, the ones who have shared their stories with me. And then I've also placed it here, and I've got poems as well. I've got about 5 books, I think. And then this book is our book of love together. I wrote it with my husband, John. And then, so during our wedding, we gave this one out to our guests.
Wow, amazing. The first one you shared, is that available for people to buy?
Well, it's available in the Philippines, but
Okay.
what I'm thinking of doing is just coming out with an ebook soon and sharing it so people around the world could also have a copy of it.
Absolutely. Are any of your, because you I'll be honest with you, Viva, I did not know you had 5 books. So are any of them can our listeners or audience buy any of them? Where can they find them?
Yes, I'm working on it because I'm
Okay.
thinking of compiling it. And also, it's really wonderful when people encourage you to write. Like my mom, she's in the Philippines. She supported my writing ever since I was a little girl. And with my writing, she was always telling me that I was writing inspirational things. And also, I had this professor in college. His name is Dr. Abercio Rator, and then he encouraged me to come out with a book. On my 18th birthday, we launched it. It was Light of Dawn. I have a copy of it here in the UK, but it's somewhere in the shelf.
Awesome. So let's I know you have the 5, is it 5 tips to help people to step into their potential. So let's because I don't think any questions have come in, so let's dive into those. Let's move on to the first one.
So I'm just thinking about life, and then while some people live meaningful lives, there are still those who struggle to do so. In today's fast-moving world, I think that convenience sells. When you're hungry, you just dial the delivery line for fast food. When you're bored, it's so easy to get yourself entertained. You just push on your TV's remote control and you could flick through channels from around the world or stream them online. You could also download movies, books, songs, and games. You could spend all day absorbed in social media, keeping updated with the lives of celebrities, your family, and friends. Then another day is done. What have you achieved for yourself? What have you done better for the world today? I think that the world needs us to awaken to our greatest selves. And how come we're not doing anything to live up to our great potential? So these are my thoughts. Shall I share the first one, Luke?
100%. Go ahead.
Okay, so why aren't we living up to our great potential? Number 1, we keep accepting that we forget to give. We take in all that excess information we're fed. We forget to use our unique abilities and skills. So we forget to live our lives. We get so engrossed with what we see on TV. So instead of cultivating our relationships in real life, we would rather know how our favorite fantasy character is doing on TV.
Yeah,
So,
100%. 100%. I like the point you made beforehand about it's so easy to be entertained, right? And we definitely put a lot of kind of emphasis and focus on whether it's reality stars or something, rather than kind of looking within, I call it, and realizing, I guess, our own strengths or skills, or things that we're good at. So yeah, I love that one. Absolutely. So we have got Leroy, who's come back now. Hi, Leroy.
Sorry, guys, I had to take that one. Yeah.
No worries. We're just about to run through. So View's got kind of 5 tips to share to help people to kind of step into their full potential ultimately. So we just went through the first one. So yeah, Leroy, so Viva, if you want to share number 2, and then I'll let Leroy. I don't know. He may have some thoughts on that one.
Okay, so here's my number 2 on why aren't we living up to our great potential. We surrender our dreams. We're seduced by the charms of fast money and what it can buy for us. So we give up on our dreams for temporary delights. Happiness is found in living our dreams. So we have to have the courage to claim our dreams, because we'll get more productive and possibly help in creating a better world when we're doing what we love to do.
That's true.
Absolutely. Yeah, amazingly put. I call it short. So I call it like long-term happiness for ultimately short-term pleasure. Ultimately, and I think a lot of people, whether that's pursuing money or whatever it is, ultimately it could even be the point you made beforehand around like people focusing so much on reality stars and just like famous people, celebrities, etc. Like when we're watching TV or whatever it is. And I'm not saying not to do those things, but there's this line, I guess, between, are you pursuing things for your long-term happiness, or are you pursuing things for short, like to get pleasure just in the moment? And if you're constantly pursuing things to get pleasure in the moment, then you're never actually pursuing that joy, that long-term happiness that we kind of all crave. So I don't know, Leroy, do you have any kind of thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think like what you're saying, like I think sometimes there's this there's this word I like ephemeral, like things, there's ephemeral things in the world, and sometimes we chase things that they don't give us lasting fulfillment. It's short-lived, and then it becomes something that we become addicted to, and we think the more we attain of that, the more it will fill us. But the more we just see how much of a gap we have, we're not really living to what we really feel like. Sometimes it's the simplest of things. You may be the most successful person, like have the most like money you can amass, but you may find that maybe that person's happiness will come from, I don't know, like just being able to be a fisherman. Do you know what I mean? Like something as simple as that. Maybe that's something that helps them to feel like they're living to their full potential. So like yeah, I think sometimes we can become distracted with outside the outside things, like it's actually something I was writing about that I'm going to be releasing on my next blog, about like we need to return to that self, to that place where you're listening to yourself before you are taking things from the outside, which can lead you into so many different ways, but it's a stray from your way to feel like you are living to your best potential as a person, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Viva, do you have any thoughts to expand on that, or we can move on to your third tip if you would like?
Yes, well, my sister Happy is watching, and could I just make her an example? Because she's doing what she loves. She's a fashion designer. So her name is Happy. She's happy with what she's doing, and she's also helping out charities, and she's helping out people with fashion. And I'm so proud of my sister. She's doing what she loves.
Amazing. That's definitely the goal for all of us, right? That's the inspiration, and that's why we have these we have these kind of conversations ultimately to help more people to do work and things that they love to do ultimately.
I mean, even if you think like, I don't know, for like asking you, we were like, from your perspective, like seeing your sister now being able to do what she loves, like from just watching and like seeing from that perspective, like what what can you share on like how we can see other people and support them when they're trying to do something rather than like, almost just stand alone, like stand afar and just leave them hanging on their own. What can you do as a person from, you're not the person who's trying to live up to their best potential, but you are a supporting like presence in their life. Like how can you be a supporting presence in somebody who's actually going for something?
I would like to say that possibly you have to support yourself first. You have to make your dreams come true and just work hard at achieving your dreams and know about yourself more. And then from there, once you're loving your life, and then you could also support other people as well, or you could also just grow with other people at the same time, so it could work that way.
Yeah, I like that because it's kind of like, I think we spoke about it probably about a month ago, Leroy, where we were talking a lot about self-care. I think we were talking about, and we were talking about like making sure our own cup ultimately is full first before we kind of go there giving to others, right? And I feel like it's kind of the same thing. It's like, of course, you can always support people, you can always give, but if you're fulfilled, I guess, or if you're doing what you love to do, then it's so much easier, or to then help and support others for them to do what they love, because you're also in that place where I think a lot of people, maybe they hate what they do, but their brother or their sister or their best friend is loving what they do, and almost this kind of resentment, I guess, or negativity because oh, I'm in this shitty office job and they're out there doing what they love, and so if we can kind of get to that place of inner peace, inner calm, fulfillment within ourselves, I do think it helps us then to support others. So yeah, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, so in a way, you have to love the life you live and live the life you love.
Yeah,
That's true.
absolutely.
Definitely. Like I think for our listeners sometimes I think it can sound as if we're trying to say be self-centered, but I think from how Viva you answer that question, like how Luke you just said, like it's it's not a sense of trying to be selfish. No, you in order to be able to care, you have to have cared for yourself. I don't know if that makes sense. Like there's this there's this connection that we have with others that we cannot do anything for anyone, whether it's business, whether it's family, like relation, caring, and whether it's our partners, anything beyond us, we cannot do it any better than we can take care of ourselves. And that's why it's so important to now start with that. Like find like how Viva you're saying, like you explored yourself, like and you explored that, like what do you like, what do you want to do, what is it that gets your heart pumping, you know what I mean? And that's
Mm.
where you start feeling life, like I mean, I always say that if you think about it, the very first act of your being, of your existence, was your heartbeat, and it alone knew what it wanted, and that was just to beat. And if you can come to a state where, like you're saying, live the life you love and love the life you live, you don't see any work of it. It's just you're living, you know.
Mm. Yeah, I suppose then you're in that state of just flow ultimately, which
Yeah.
is probably another topic for another day. But Viva, yeah, let's move on to your third tip.
Okay, so why aren't we living to our great potential? Number three, we undervalue ourselves. You're worth more than you think. Take pride in yourself. Don't risk yourself for something that would sabotage you. Consider the consequences of every action you take. If it won't yield good results, please think twice. That's the third tip.
I think that's a good tip. That's a good tip. I think you have to have some sense of caution, don't you? Like being able to be self-aware. Like you're not gonna throw yourself into fire, you know, unless you've got an armor on, you know. So you have to think about it. Yeah. Like, I don't know. What thoughts do you have, Luke?
Yeah, I think it's ultimately I would say that it's really important. Ultimately, I like the point you made, Leroy, around like self-awareness. I've spoken about that a lot ultimately. And now, so last week we were talking about, or it came up with it, we mentioned the term of like human consciousness a lot. And I think self-awareness is a huge part of that, just like raising our own awareness to kind of everything that we do, like every behavior, every action that we do, so we can learn from that, and with the goal in mind to make better choices that are more in line with who we are next time. So yeah, I think that's really important ultimately. Definitely.
Yeah, go on. Nah, I want to hear the rest.
Okay. Yeah, Viva, move on to number 4, unless you have anything to add on number 3.
I think you really have to think of yourself because, well, face it, maybe nobody's going to really think about you. They're all wrapped up with their own lives. So you have to think about yourself, care for yourself, nurture yourself, because if you don't do it, who's going to do it? Who's going to take
100%.
care of you?
Just real quick before we move on to tip number 4, I really love that, because often we think that we get into this kind of, it might be even imposter syndrome kind of mindset of like, shit, like everyone's thinking about me, right? And it's like, really, like they're really not, like if you're, like I've met so many people who maybe they want to start a podcast but don't, because they're like, oh, what's this person going to think? What's this person going to think? And it's like 9 times out of 10, they're not even thinking about you, because they've got their own stuff to deal with, like they've got their own problems, they've got their own challenges, they've got their own life to lead. And so most of the time it's just in our heads, right, that we think that this person's thinking about us, or this person, or whoever it is. And yeah, we just have to, as we're saying, discover kind of our true selves and take the actions ultimately from there. So I really like that ultimately. Yeah, ready to move on to number 4 if you are, Viva.
Okay, so why aren't we living to our great potential? Number 4, we stay stuck. Your feet aren't planted on soil or sticky glue. You haven't come to the end of the road. There's still time to make life the way you want it to be. If what you love doesn't love you back, do something else. Go forward and push yourself further on. While you live, continually search for ways to improve. Step out of the box that traps your productivity. Know what it feels to be free again. Dance with your creativity. See your life unfolding with new eyes. Gain new insights every day. While you're alive, you can develop yourself, learn new skills, keep going and growing.
Wow.
I love that. The first thing that came to mind when you were sharing that, Viva, is I think there's a quote that says something along the lines of like, you're not a tree, like you can move, and that's like ultimately the first thing that came to mind. Is that often we feel like we're stuck, right? Like there's nowhere to go, like this is my life, like I can't do nothing. And so we give our power away, where I feel like we have to realize that, as you kind of alluded to there, we have 2 feet, right? And so we can move, like we can take action. We can, even if it's just one small thing, like every action has a byproduct of kind of, it has a sequence of events, and so if we can develop more of this type of mindset of like, actually I can move, and again, any action when you're feeling stuck, can undo that. And a point I mentioned there is that it's a feeling, right? And so it doesn't actually mean, it's not like a fact, right? So you may feel stuck, but actually, are you? Because that's just how you feel. And so if we can then change that by taking an action, as I'm talking about, that can be powerful to move us out of that state ultimately. Leroy, do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, on what you just said on the top, on the fact of like a tree, like that, we are not a tree. I've always said like something as well. Like I've always said, like we are the almost the magic or the miracle. We are the walking trees. Because if you think about it, like what you just said, like at the end of the day, you're also developing. Like what Viva was saying, you like go out there every new day. Like you're not stuck in mud or like sticky glue. Like you need to keep going. You need to keep pushing on because every single day is a new day. And in that same way, it's like we are not trees stuck on just one spot. At the same time, we are trees that are able to move from one place to another to a better ground. If you feel like this ground is not like fertile enough, you can move and be in a space where now look at you now, Luke. Like you are a tree in this new domain where you've connected with me, with Viva, with so many people, and you have provided, and your roots, your connection has enabled you to what? To grow into this new being that you are continually growing into, because you moved yourself into a place that like I'm not a tree that's stuck in one place, and yet still I am the walking tree that can move into a better place and provide shade, provide food, whatever it is. But you've been able to now do more than you could if you just stuck in that space and close yourself in even more and just put your head down. And that's what I got from what you said there, Viva. It's like it's okay. Sometimes that it's there's a time for everything. That's one thing I've learned. There's a time to smile, there's a time to laugh, there's a time to cry, there's a time to be happy, to celebrate, time for death, time for life, there's a time for everything. And when we allow that time, even when we feel down and feel like, okay, today has not been my best day, like allow yourself that time so that you can allow that time to pick yourself up tomorrow, and move yourself into a better place than to feel like that's it. This is me. I'm stuck here. Can't go nowhere. I can't do anything. Like I think that state of mind is really, no matter how many people can now come and try and support you out of that state, because you're in that state of mind that's saying, I'm stuck here. There's nothing you can do. But it's always about. I thought to myself, you know what? Think about it this way. Just there's this negativity. I've come to think it's almost like it's giving you attention to the line of thoughts that are not really productively like anywhere near what really fills you full, right? But that which is positive now, it's like you are directing your attention to your intentions of what you want to see happen. And so when that does happen, it has a positive effect, that fuels you and keeps you going. But now the negative one is that when we give that attention to that line of thought that's really not giving us anything, it's almost like you feel. Have you ever been hungry, right? To a point where you feel like your stomach is eating you from the inside. That's what we do to ourselves when we feed off negativity to a point where there's nothing more to take from yourself, right? Because that's what you're doing when you're being negative. You're taking away from yourself. You're literally saying, I don't have any ability to be smart or learn a new instrument. You're taking away that ability. You're stripping away yourself. And when you come to that place of bare and nothingness, and many people can now like subdue to even thoughts of suicide. As deep and sad as that is, it's a reality. But like I like that number 4, like to live our great potential is to always You have that choice every single day. Like put your attention to that negative thing or direct it. And every little choice you give into that direction of positivity, it takes you out. It takes you out of that feeling of stuckness, because that positivity gives you a shape. And when you go negative, it gives you a bit tighter. Me, I'll talk for the world,
100%.
but
100%. No, completely agree. Yeah, absolutely. Viva, do you have anything to add on to that, or do you want to move on to number 5, the last one, I believe?
Well, if you don't like the way your life is going, change direction, because you have control over your life and you can live it the way you want to. And it's not too late to keep on learning new skills. And just because you had a dream of becoming a singer or a dancer, and then suddenly people don't appreciate that, and then maybe there are other things that you could do, that other things that you're good at as well. So just constantly keep on learning.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Let's dive into number 5.
Okay, so why aren't we living to our great potential? Why aren't we living up to our great potential? Number 5. We get content with the way things are. We're afraid of change and how it would affect us. But if we don't change anything, how will we get to be the person we want to be?
Powerful. Absolutely. I've kind of been thinking a lot about really the whole topic lately of what we're discussing here today, of like how come some people go and create meaningful, fulfilled lives, and others stay stuck, or others stay where they are. And I feel one of the things I've come up with when I wrote this word down when you were talking there, Viva, is just this ability, this kind of maybe it's way of being, I guess, of just acceptance, right? So they just accept how things are. They don't necessarily challenge how things are. They don't question how things are. Leroy, I swear we spoke. Did we speak about this last week around like the? I swear it came up last week as well. Around last week, yeah, Friday, just like 3 days ago, around the ability to kind of question things, right? That ability to just not accept of like, oh well, my life is this way, or my community is this way, or this is just the way things are. I think that's really important. You mentioned a key word earlier, Viva, around, I think it was courage, right? And we have to be able to develop a lot of courage, obviously, to be able to do this. But what's the alternative? That's the question that comes to me. And really, the alternative is not necessarily something that I like. So, yeah, I think, I believe this is the last tip, and I think that it's very, very powerful. And I would just encourage people to start to just accept less of like how things are, starting with themselves, and start to question themselves first of like, well, why am I making this choice, or why am I making this decision, or why am I behaving in this way? And I think over time comes back to that key word or phrase, Leroy, of like, you raise your own level of human consciousness. Ultimately, you raise your own level of self-awareness. Once you do that, then things start to shift. So that would be kind of my final thoughts on kind of this last really powerful tip. Leroy, what would yours be?
Yeah, like I think you said quite a lot there. I mean, changing, like there's this one song I've always liked since I went to uni. Like it was by this artist called Dead Prez, saying keep learning, changing, and growing. No, keep learning, growing, and changing. We have to keep learning and growing and then changing, because in that process we become new. We find new life. You're not the same person you were a week ago, as you may not, as lightly as you may think of it. Like you have grown. So it's something where we shouldn't take it lightly, like
Well, so Leroy, just on that point, so it kind of comes back to that very well-known idea within like personal development. Like you're either growing or you're dying, right? So like people are either moving forwards
Oh, that's
or they're moving
oh,
or
good.
they're moving backwards, right? So like I think like that's powerful, right? It's just like people to
Oh,
understand that they feel like sometimes they're just kind of staying like they're not moving, you know. I'm not huge into like energies and kind of stuff and like that side of personal development, but I kind of get it, right? I get it. I understand that you know, like we're always in a state of kind of moving forward or slowly declining, I guess, you know. And I think so what I would say about the declining part, I'm not sometimes maybe we need that. It's kind of going back to that idea of like taking 2 steps back to go 5 forward, right? Because maybe we need to change ourselves or whatever it is. But I think then it kind of comes back into the point we made earlier of like, but then people just accept that's life, that's how life is, and they just kind of continue to keep slowly dying inside. So sorry, Leroy, I interrupted you there.
ah,
But yeah, let's say your final thoughts, and then we can go back to the.
it's a powerful thought, like what you said there, like in terms of like, yeah, either there's that self-development idea that you're either dying or you're living. And I mean, if we look at it, like, I don't mean to be morbid sometimes, guys. I don't like, but it's just the truth, and you know, it's life. And if you look at it, like from the moment you're born, you're dying, and it's only your choice to live. Can you actually, like, you know, you have the choice. You actually have to choose to live, because ultimately we are all dying. But each and every single day, you choose to live that day. Do you know what I mean? You choose to have more to do with life than to do with death, because you're not crying about the fact that you are going into a space where you don't even know when you cease to be. You know, nobody's out here mourning every day like I'm gonna die at some point. Everybody dies. Nobody's doing that. We're all living our life. We want to be happy. We want to enjoy life. We want to live life. And when we take it a full circle and bring it back to what you said at the beginning, Viva, like, you know, we can become misled by the things of life, society, our culture, our environment. But when we can come to a place we can examine ourselves, you know, like, do you really want, is this life what you really want to be living? Like, are you happy? Like, are you fulfilled? You feel like you're waking up every morning with like the first thought, it's purpose led, you know, not like another day. Like,
Not,
you know,
not dread or doubt. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, as soon as you open your eyes, it's like, right, you know, there's purpose in your mind. Whereas, you know, you're having a life where you're just like, I have to bear this another day. You've already accepted what we already know is all our fate, and that is death. So you've died twice. I think it's Gary Vaynerchuk said it, or somebody said that. You know, you no. There's this guy called Marcus Garvey. You know, it's like, you know, a man dies twice or something like that. You know,
Yeah,
you
I
can,
think I've heard. Yeah. I think I've
yeah,
heard. Sounds
yeah,
familiar.
yeah, something along those lines. You know, it's like when you choose to not live, like, you're dying as much as you will die again. You know, and that's something we need to look ourselves at. Like, we can change, and that's why it's heavy. It's not easy to tell someone that you can change. It's not easy to change, but for us to say it is because for some of us we have experienced it, and we're not trying to say that you can do it as we did, but we're just saying it's possible. And you know, we have to. That's why it's very important to now look at yourself and be very honest. That's only the way you can change, because the truth is in the mirror that we find within our own soul. You know, and
I love that. I love that, Leroy.
you know,
Yeah.
that's where I would give my final thoughts on. You know,
Okay,
on
no,
the
that's powerful. I like that. I'm gonna have to quote that for Instagram or something. Gonna have to quote that. Amazing. Viva, do you have any? So before we move on, do you ever have any other tips, or were those your five tips?
I could just wrap it up a bit. if you'd like.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to wrap it up and then share where people can find you online, and then we can move on.
Okay, so let's live up to our great potential. Do something meaningful with your life. You deserve better than what convenience can give you. Create your own thing. At the end of the day, it feels much better to produce something yourself when you make a change for yourself. Other people will do the same and follow suit. But don't do it for them. Do it for yourself because you deserve something far greater. Is it okay if I share a poem?
Yeah, please go for it. I thought you were sharing poems all along. I thought you were sharing poems.
Thank you. Here's my poem called Today is the Day. Today is the day you hold in the palm of your hand. Mold it and do with it as you wish. Today is the day you break free from can't and won't, chains that hold you back. Today is the day you kick your not good enough worries and fears away. Today is the day you believe in your purpose, mission, and dreams. Today is the day you matter and become the master of your life story. Today is the day you shape your destiny. Today is the day you paint on your canvas of life. Today is the day you create. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. That's amazing. Amazing. Where can people find you online if they want to learn more about what you do? Maybe read or hear some more poems. Where can they find you?
Okay, well, on social media, they could follow me on Instagram and Facebook, Love Viva Cakes and Crafts. And I'm also on Twitter, Viva Voom, I think. Is it Viva Voom? Vivacious Viva. Yes,
Okay.
and then Instagram is Viva Voom.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, that's a great way to end today's show with a poem and everything. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Leroy, do you have any final words in 30 seconds or less? And you're muted, by the way.
I don't have 30 seconds anymore. Okay. Find and live up to your great potential.
Amazing. Awesome. So guys, all the links from today's episode will be in the description, or kind of around this video, around this podcast, depending if you're watching or listening on audio. If you found this valuable, then please leave a review and consider to subscribe. We will be back next Monday, I believe, with another topic. I think we've got a topic next week, and then the week after, I think we've got a guest. So again, Viva, thank you so much. Leroy, a pleasure as always. And I will leave you with our outro, guys. Have a great week.
Take it easy.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Unorthodox Perspectives.
If you liked today's episode on the show, please subscribe and leave a comment below.
All relevant links for today's episode of the podcast can be found in the description, so please check them out.
And we will be back next week with another episode. Until then, have an awesome week.